Should you go freelance in cybersecurity or stay in-house? Now, this decision could literally change your entire career trajectory, your income, and your lifestyle. I'm about to break down everything you need to know based on real data from cybersecurity professionals. Today, we're diving deep into both the pros and cons of both paths, including the actual salary numbers that most people don't discuss. We're going to talk about how to build a client base from scratch, and if you go freelance, and the lifestyle considerations that could make or break your decision. So stick around, as I've got some surprising insights that might completely change how you think about your cybersecurity career. Hi, I'm Luke, and I'm a career coach and recruiter with over 14 years of experience. If you're new here, welcome. And if you enjoy my content, please subscribe to the channel and drop a like. So first up, let's talk about where the cybersecurity industry stands right now, because this context is crucial for your decision. And the numbers are staggering. Global cybersecurity spending is projected to hit around $212 billion this year in 2025. And here's something that might surprise you. Approximately 25% of IT and engineering professionals now work as freelancers. That's crazy, right? That stat of 25%. And this number is climbing fast. But here's what's really interesting, and this might hit close to home. Now, 66% of cybersecurity professionals say their job is more stressful now than it was 5 years ago. Why do you think the top reasons are? Well, an increasingly complex threat landscape, low budgets, hiring challenges, and insufficiently trained staff. These stress factors combined is actually driving many professionals to consider freelancing as an escape from the corporate grind. And this is one of the reasons why I wanted to do this video on it. I've been hearing more and more about it in recent times, so I thought it'd be important for you. But is freelancing really the answer? Well, let's find out, and let's dig a little bit deeper into this subject. So let's start with freelancing, and I'm going to give you the real talk, not the sugar-coated version. Let's discuss money, as that's probably what you're thinking about. Can I earn more as a freelancer, or can I earn more in-house? Well, the average cybersecurity consultant makes on average $102,000 a year, with hourly rates ranging somewhere between $48 to $79 per hour. But here's the kicker. Top freelancers can earn significantly more. I've even seen specialists in areas such as pen testing and incident response command $150 plus per hour. Now, let me just say, this doesn't mean that you will get this. It's just an example of what I've seen out there. So it is possible. So I wanted to make you aware of it. But remember, money isn't everything. Freelancing gives you something that's becoming increasingly rare, which is true flexibility. You set your own hours, you choose your clients, and you work from literally anywhere in the world with an internet connection. No more sitting in pointless meetings or dealing with office politics. So if you're going through that, I would look at freelancing. Now, here's something most people don't consider as a freelancer. You'll work across multiple industries and you'll see all different types of security challenges. This makes you incredibly versatile. Now, while your in-house colleagues are becoming expert in one company's specific setup, you're becoming an expert in cybersecurity across dozens of different environments. So the market is crying out for specialists. Companies are willing to pay premium rates for experts in niche areas such as cloud security and compliance, AI-powered cybersecurity, incident response and threat detection. You've got ethical hacking and penetration testing. Now, according to recent data, 93% of cybersecurity freelancers started their path after gaining significant experience in traditional roles. What they did is they used that experience to command higher rates and offer better advice. They've seen it work in-house, they've taken their skills, and they're now going to the market as a freelancer. Okay, so let's now talk about some of the cons to freelancing, because there are some. And let's be real about the challenges, because freelancing isn't all laptops on beaches and flexible schedules, although it definitely can be. You have income instability. Your income can be feast or famine. One month you're booked solid, the next month you're scrambling for clients. This inconsistency can be mentally exhausting and financially stressful, so it's something to bear in mind. You have client acquisition challenges. So building a client base from scratch is tough. Like any business, when you start out, it's difficult. You need clients to earn money. You're not relying on a paycheck anymore. You're not just a cybersecurity expert, you're also a salesperson. You're a marketer, you're a business developer. Many Many technical people struggle with this transition, so once again, something to bear in mind. There's no safety net. You have no health insurance, no paid vacation, no retirement contributions. You're responsible for everything. So that 102,000 average salary I mentioned earlier, well, think about this. You need to subtract self-employment taxes, health insurance, equipment, software licenses, and business expenses, just to name a few. Then we talk about isolation and burnout. Working alone can be isolating. You miss out on team collaboration. You miss out on possible mentorship opportunities and the social aspects of office life. Plus, you're always on. No clear separation between work and personal time. Now, let's talk about some cybersecurity specific challenges. Here's something unique to the field. As a freelancer, you're actually more vulnerable to cyber attacks yourself. You're handling sensitive data from multiple clients, often on personal devices, without the robust security infrastructure that companies provide. Okay, now let's flip the script and talk about the in-house route and why it might be more appealing than you think. So let's talk about the pros. You have stability and benefits. There is a steady paycheck. There's health insurance, retirement contributions, paid time off. The peace of mind that comes with financial stability can't be overstated. You can play your life without worrying about where your next project is coming from, for example. You have career progression. So in-house roles offer clear career progression paths, or they should. You can go from security analyst to senior analyst to a SOC manager to a CISO. There's mentorship, there's training budgets and opportunities for leadership development. Let's talk about deep expertise. While freelancers become generalists, in-house professionals become deep experts in their organization's specific security landscape. This depth can be incredibly valuable and satisfying. Now, it's worth noting that if you're planning on staying at a company for years, then this would be very useful. But you could also look at it from the other point of view, that you may become so specialist in one area that when you go to move, you haven't learned any other skills. So once again, bear that in mind. Now, back to some of the pros. You have team environment. You're part of a team working towards common goals. This can be great for morale. There's collaboration, there's knowledge sharing, and the satisfaction of building something long-term together. You have less business overheads. You focus purely on cybersecurity work. You're not worried about getting new clients on. You're not worried about doing any business development or sales. There's no or very limited admin tasks. The company handles all of that so you can focus on what you do best, which is cybersecurity. However, once again, they're the pros. Now let's talk about some of the cons and negatives from going down the in-house path. Limited flexibility, fixed schedules, office politics, bureaucracy. You're at the mercy of company policies and management decisions. That flexibility you crave, forget about it. Salary ceiling. Your earning potential is often capped by company salary bands and budget constraints. Even if you become incredibly valuable, there's only so much a company will pay. I've seen it time and time before when I speak to candidates, and they feel that they should be getting paid more. However, they're limited to what they can do at that company because their salary bracket or their band only pays so much, and this can be a problem. You have stress without control. Remember that stat about 66% of cybersecurity pros becoming more stressed? Most of those are in-house employees dealing with understaffing or budget constraints and increasing threats without the freedom to change their situation. There's limited exposure. You only see one company's security challenges, like I mentioned a minute ago. This can limit your growth and make you less marketable if you ever want to change jobs. Okay, now let's talk about building a client base. So if you're leaning towards freelancing, the biggest question is, how do I get clients? Well, let me give you a roadmap that actually works. Start while you're still employed. I think this is crucial. Start building your reputation and client base while you still have a steady income. A lot of people do this with new businesses. They start a new business while they're still employed because it's risky to take on new business. It's risky to take on new work or try to get those new clients on if you've quit your job already because you have no income coming in. So take on small projects in the evenings and weekends. Leverage your existing network. Most successful freelancers get their first clients through their existing network. Maybe it's former colleagues or industry contacts. Even your current employer might become your first client. Who knows? Build thought leadership. Start creating content. Write articles on LinkedIn about cybersecurity challenges that you've personally solved. Maybe you can participate in online forums. Speak at local meetup groups. This builds your reputation and makes potential clients come to you. The more you can get your name out there, build your brand, the quicker your client base will grow. Now, focus on specific industries. So instead of trying to serve everyone, possibly you can focus on specific industries that you understand well, whether that's healthcare, finance, or manufacturing. Pick one and become the go-to expert for that sector. Make sure you use freelancing platforms strategically. Platforms like TopTal, Upwork, and specialized cybersecurity job boards can help you get started, but don't rely on them long term. Use them to build experience and testimonials, then transition to direct clients. Remember to offer value before asking for payment. Provide free security assessments, write helpful blog posts, answer questions in forums. This builds trust and demonstrates your expertise before anyone has to write you a check. Who writes a check these days anyway? Okay, moving on. Let's talk about financial and lifestyle considerations. So let's talk about the real financial picture and the lifestyle implications that these choices have. The true cost of freelancing, that's 102K average, right? That's what the average cybersecurity person gets. Well, here's what it really looks like. You have employment tax, health insurance, 6,000 to 12,000 a year maybe, no paid vacation or sick days, equipment and software, on average between 2,000 and 5,000 a year, business expenses, let's say 3,000 to 8,000 a year. So your 102,000 might actually be closer to 70,000 to 80,000 in take home, equivalent to a salaried position. So if we looked at lifestyle trade-offs, well, freelancing means your income determines your lifestyle. You're always networking and you're always business developing. Vacation means lost income. You handle all administrative tasks. Now, in-house means predictable schedule in most cases. Clear separation between work and personal time. Once again, not at all places, I appreciate that, but most places. Benefits handled by someone else, but less control over your day-to-day work. So the stress factor, what would that look like? Now, here's something interesting. Freelancers often report lower stress levels than in-house employers do, despite income uncertainty. Why is that? Control. When you control your schedule, your clients, and your workload, many other stresses disappear. So after we've talked about all that, the important thing now comes down to making the decision. What do you do? Do you go in-house? Do you stay in-house? Do you go from in-house to freelancer? Do you start as a freelancer? Well, let's talk about that. Now, before I carry on, I'm not saying here which one is better or which one I would do. I'm simply trying to lay out what each one may look like, pros and cons, to help you decide. Once again, I own my own business. So even though I've talked about all of the cons that come with owning your own business, of course, there's lots of pros that go with it. But how do you decide? Well, ask yourself these questions. 1, financial risk tolerance. Can you handle 3 to 6 months of reduced or no income while building your client base? 2, sales aptitude. Are you comfortable with networking? Are you comfortable with selling and business development, speaking to people constantly trying to get their business? These skills are just as important as your technical abilities. So you may be a fantastic cybersecurity professional, but if you don't have the ability to network, to speak to people, to try and sell and business develop, then freelancer probably isn't for you. 3, lifestyle priorities. Do you value flexibility over security, adventure over stability? Think about these here. 4, career stage. Are you early on in your career? Probably stick in house for now, I would say, and gain more experience. Or are you experienced with a strong network? So this would mean a great candidate for freelancing, because if you have a really good network behind you, there could be clients straight away. 5, family situation. Now, freelancing is easier when it's just you, harder when you have dependents who need consistent healthcare and income. So what does that mean? Well, let's talk about maybe the hybrid approach. So here's a middle path that I think could work really well for a majority of people. Start freelancing part-time while keeping your day job. This lets you test the waters. It lets you build a client base and see if you actually enjoy the freelancing lifestyle before you make that full leap. You might not know if you can business develop. You might not know if you're good at selling your skills. You might think you are and you end up not being. The point is, you can go out there, test the waters, have a see, have a feel. Do you like that part of it before you take that full leap into becoming a freelancer? So after talking through that, let's recap with our final thoughts. Now, here's my take. There's no universally right answer here. I've honestly seen brilliant cybersecurity professionals thrive in both environments and also fail in both environments. The key is being honest about your priorities, your skills, and your life situation. Don't freelance just because you hate your current job. Fix the job situation first, whether that's find a new one or find ways in how your current position can improve. And don't just stay in-house just because it feels safe if you're truly craving the freedom and potential of freelancing. There are options out there for you. And once again, think about what you think is best for you. And if you're not sure, stick your toe in the water and try one of them and see how it feels. I hope this has helped you think through your decision. If it has, hit that like button and subscribe for more cybersecurity career advice. Drop a comment below. Are you team freelance, team in-house, or you're really not sure? I read every comment and I'd love to hear your perspective. And if you feel you need some coaching through this, reach out, let's connect. I would love to help you. Now, thanks for watching. As always, keep leveling up your career and I'll see you all in the next video.